thing you need to work on is a safe environment. By the way, I would get rid of all chain link fences in your downtown core area down to the waterfront. These are wrought iron. They even make vinyl wrought iron fencing now. You will never find chain link at a Disney place or in Carmel, California, or any destination that's good. And the other thing is, some crosswalks. Zero, none, nothing anywhere. I mean, you have what should be a great pedestrian-friendly downtown, and there's nothing at any intersection anywhere. No crosswalks. But you know what I want you to do is do some really cool crosswalks. This is called street print. These right here, those are not paver stones. They are actually embossed down in the asphalt. It's embossed down like ½ an inch. And it's a dye. This is not paint. It'll last for 20 years. What's really cool about it, you can have whatever design you want. So see these guys? They just finished this side, now they're doing that side. You could drive on it within 5 minutes. You could have whatever design you want. You know what we told them to do in Muskogee? In their downtown on Broadway, we wanted them to do all 4 crosswalks on an intersection with the bars of Okie from Muskogee, Merle Haggard. Wouldn't that be cool? You know how many people will be taking those pictures and on social media, all of a sudden, which has the Music Hall of Fame, all of a sudden they'd be on the map. You could have whatever design you want. Wouldn't that be cool? And by the way, this is like $6 a square foot. And just having a decorative crosswalk like that slows traffic down. On weekends, this is Cannon Beach, Oregon, town 2,500. This guy right here, the town has a budget of $10,000 a year, and they pay street performers and entertainers $35. He got paid $35 to be out here for 6 hours. He made the rest of his money off of tips. And he was doing the magic show. And you know what? Crowds gathered. And places like Nelson, British Columbia, they don't even have to pay him. But I would invite your high school students, your college students, anybody to come in, bring downtown to life, have music on the street. I mean, bring it to life. You know, towns everywhere. By the way, you notice all this is unamplified music. So start with Friday evening, Saturday, Sunday afternoons during your peak season. This guy is playing an instrument called a hammered dulcimer. You know, and by the way, people are saying it's called a what? People stop, and then he starts explaining it to them, and they are obligated. He was making $100 a day just doing that. You know, this is a restaurant in Asheville, North Carolina. There's 2 restaurants, one here, one here. And we were walking by, this band started playing at about 4:30. Well, restaurant is open for dinner till 5. So went in, talked to this restaurant owner, and said, so what's the scoop here with the band? And he says, oh yeah, we and my neighbor over here, we pay for the band. And I said, when did they start? And they said at 4. I said, but you don't start serving dinner at 5, till 5. He goes, we do happy hour from 4 to 5. By the time 5 o'clock rolls around, we're already full and we've already paid for the band. You know, and so even if you had one of those decks and the band is out there, I mean, how cool is that? And there's even videos on this for you to watch. And so, bring downtown to life. I mean, you have so much potential. But you know what? We saw this. It's okay, I got an idea. And then if you're standing in front of this looking that way, that's what you see. And I'm hoping they're not too far along with whatever they're doing in there, because I have an idea. Wouldn't it be cool, just bear with me for a minute, wouldn't it be cool if that became a microbrewery? Wouldn't it be cool if there was a restaurant in there with it? Wouldn't it be cool if you had a little glass blowing studio or something in there in the gas station and roll up the garage doors? Wouldn't it be cool if this was a little restaurant here? So what if you turned all of that into a plaza? A plaza. Okay, so what if? So you put down paver stones and everything, and so then you go, well, wait, and then right here we would do a roundabout. So cars coming up here could actually go around and then back out, or you could deliver stuff on here. You'd have some pop-up bollards here, so there'd still be some access there. But what if We put some street trees along in here. And by the way, these trees, see, they're about the size of these. They might be even a little bit smaller. So I'm showing these are all street trees. And then what if we put some trees up there? What if we just lined the whole street with trees every 35 feet right there? What if we even did that down here so we have kind of a neat gateway into your downtown? And maybe we even add even more along here. You know, and what if you did this where you could, what else did I add here? There we go. These are little, there's a stage. What if we had a stage right there? And what if these right here were Catalina umbrellas? So there's tables under them, right? So this is all outdoor cafe dining there, and in there, and there. And all these places would be tables and chairs. It's a central gathering place. So you'd have all these umbrellas and everything going on. And then what you would do is you would have, these are all vendor booths. You could have a farmer's market, an art market, all kinds of activities always going on in there. You could put food trucks out here. It creates a central gathering place. A place for people to come and hang out. And people driving to Eufaula and go, oh my gosh, that's really cool. You might even put, because it's a state highway, you might even put a little wrought iron fence here that's this high or whatever, just to keep people out of the street. But you know what? This street didn't seem to be overly used. You have this dead island thing out here anyway. You know where I'm talking about. I mean, you would just all of a sudden take something and have the coolest gateway coming into town. And you'd have a central gathering place. I mean, I could just see all cafe. So if your plaza was right here, you'd have tables and chairs and cool stuff going on here. I mean, imagine any kind of art or anything going on in here. You know what? I bet you could find a microbrewery that would do this in a heartbeat if you said, we'll be with you. And you know what's fun is that I'll bet, I don't know who owns these. You know what? Maybe we can get a developer to buy them unless the owner's willing to actually invest. And if the city came along and said, you know what, you do that and we'll do this part, you'd have a public-private partnership and you would have an anchor tenant in your downtown. A reason for all these people and all, rather than you going to McAllister and Muskogee and everywhere else, Chakota, wouldn't it be cool if they were coming here? And you know when the hours of this would be? 4 to 9 or 10 o'clock at night, 6 days a week. Sundays would be the night that you wouldn't be open. And it would just be a gathering place. Could be coffee shops, could be anything. I mean, and then what if right across the street, they got all these shelters. They could put bands and stuff over there. I mean, you could just really make this cool. And then you have a cool crosswalk there. Your gateway would be amazing. And then finally, these are the two buildings I'm going, okay, what do we do about this? Because it doesn't look like whoever owns them cares at all. I mean, so if the owner won't play, because I went around back and I went, OMG. I mean, this just scared the bejesus. Jane's over there. By the way, I am here with my wife who she shot with me. Jane, would you stand up back there? There she is. She goes, lock the doors. So, I mean, you know what you could do? If you ever get a chance, I want you to take a road trip. I want you to go down to Sulphur Springs, Texas. Not that far a drive. And talk to Mark Maxwell. They had all these kinds of buildings in their downtown. They sent out notices, if you're not up to code, if you're in violation of code, state code, and you don't fix it within 120 days, we're fining you for every 30 days. You're out of compliance. What happened is, the fines piled up and up and up, and the city ended up with the property. Then they brought in a private property developer to help redevelop them, and they flipped them, and they said, here's what you will put inside. They did a little zoning overlay, say here's allowable uses. Because on your main street, it should be 90% retail and restaurants. Not law firms, not laundromats. And only in this little core of Main Street. We want laundromats. We want all those businesses. But that's what we call neighborhood retail. Think about this. You will never go into a successful mall and find a law office, a pregnancy clinic, a laundromat, will you? No. They orchestrate the business mix. You need to do the same thing. So I would do a zoning overlay over these 3 blocks. It's historic. You have beautiful architecture. Your potential for this downtown is as good as any in Oklahoma. Even Bricktown isn't very intimate, you know, and so you have that potential. I mean, if you go downtown Sulphur Springs, this is what it looks like at night. This is what it looks like during the day. There's their little plaza. It's about the same size as yours, the one I just designed for you. Notice I already figure it's a done deal. And of course, it's easier to say than to do. I get it. By the way, old high school, right? I got a great idea. I want you to call some friends of mine. They're based in Minneapolis. They are called Art Space. They buy buildings like that. I think they would buy that building. We were working in Michigan City, Indiana, and they bought a big building downtown. But you know what? I would go to Art Space and say, we have a great old high school right on our main street. We want you to buy it. Now, it is a public-private partnership. There are state, federal funds. There's all kinds of things involved. But what they do is they totally refurbish them. They have artist loft upstairs, and then downstairs is all gallery and artist live workspace. It's a cool thing you could do. And it would give you some depth, some cultural depth that you so need. It's here. You've got the talent here. Just walk into our favorite place and look at the talent. And a lot of that, even though it's main Oklahoma, a lot of that's local, am I right? I mean, so, you know, that's what they do. They're incredible. So, I want you to find your focus. The big deal about branding, I'm going to talk about branding for a minute, is this is about cash. So we're trying to figure out how do we import more cash into Eufaula so that your businesses can succeed, so that your neighbors can succeed, and so that you can have a town that you're proud of. Because right now I haven't felt a whole lot of pride in Eufaula. There are some, but not many. So here's the deal. The mission of all governments, your city government, your state government, county government, the President of the United States, is to create and improve the quality of life. Tourism is only a means to an end. And I say tourism is the purest form of economic development. You know why? People come, spend money, and go home. You don't need the social services. You don't need the police if you get the right visitors. It's the purest form. And so, you know what? That's their job. And their job is to create great parks, schools, you know, safe neighborhoods, all the quality of life amenities. That is their job. I mean, it doesn't matter. Healthcare programs, you name it. Parks. Their job is to make life better. To do that, they need cash. This town is dying from lack of cash flow. I don't know what the city's budgets are, if they've been declining, if they're growing. I have no idea. All I know is that the commercial sector in this town is not paying its fair share of the taxes. And so, how do you make it happen? We need to go find a way to do cash, and you do that through tourism. And you do that by making it so that people want to live in your community, that people will invest in getting people to visit. And so the deal is about tourism. There it is. Okay? They come, they spend money, they go home. That is the benefit of tourism. And by the way, there may be people, oh no, I know there are people in Eufaula that do not like tourism. You better get over it because it's your economy. You can go out there all day, every day, and say, we need factories. Well, you know what? All 721 cities and towns in the state are saying that. You are a tourism economy. And by the way, tourism can drive non-tourism economic development. I'm the first person to say it shouldn't be your only form. But somebody who comes here for a visitor and absolutely loves it, and you do have merchants that have done exactly that. They love the lake life. They have moved here and they're trying to make it opening a business. And they're not succeeding, partially because of themselves and partially because they don't have a support network of other businesses thinking like they do. So, it's the third largest industry in Oklahoma, by the way. So here you do. How do you get more of that? By the way, there's 19,500 cities, towns in the United States. Did you know there are only 1,000 of all of those that have populations of more than 40,000 people? Only 1,000. Guess what? 17,500 have populations of less than 20,000. Yet youth, when they grow up and graduate from high school, they're moving to the urban areas. So, here's the question. Look at that. 721. How do you stand out from the other 720? You have to find your unique selling proposition as town, and you're not the only lake town in this state. You have a dozen of them right around Lake Eufaula. I mean, and there's other lakes. You have to find your focus. And by the way, we're exposed to 5,000 marketing messages a day. So, you know, we see them on license plates, on billboards, on storefronts, on the radio, on television, in magazines, and newspapers, and menu boards, and maps. And I mean, we see all this stuff. We get so overloaded. You know what our minds do? We block out anything that doesn't appeal to us. So if I see horseback riding there and I could care less about it, my mind doesn't even remember it. But if I see horseback riding and go, oh my gosh, I love horseback riding, our ears are going to perk up and all of a sudden we're going to take note. That's why something for everyone doesn't work. And by the way, that statistic I gave you is national. National. So in your marketing, I want you to avoid these words and phrases. You want to hear something funny? I was doing this at Wisconsin, the Governor's Conference on Tourism in Wisconsin. We had like 1,100 people in the audience. This list came up and a lady in the audience jumped up and went like this. I went, yes, ma'am, and she yelled out, I think we're using all of those. Explore, discover, experience our outdoor recreation, which is unlike anywhere else. We have so much to see and do in our 4 seasons. And she went right down the list. But you know what? Look at this. Could this fit any town, anywhere, except this one? I've seen real Oklahoma, real Okie. I've seen all of that. Could these fit any town, anywhere in the state? Or Arkansas, or Texas, or anywhere else? Yeah. They don't work. You have to stand out. In economic development, we're trying to attract, and this is what cities use all over the United States. They use these words. This could fit any town, anywhere. And we wonder why 97% of our marketing is ineffective. You need to stand for something. By the way, I would say, okay, we are known for Lake Eufaula. We are the namesake town. But we need to have a brand for our downtown. I think your downtown needs to be your driver. Because you know what? We're not going to come to the lake if it's pouring down rain. We may not come to the lake in November and January, but we'll come to a downtown during those months. If you have a great downtown, that's a destination. I think you need a brand for your downtown. And so you have to narrow your focus. You must jettison the generic. The bottom line, it's a means to an end. And so here's the things you need to know about branding. And I'm only going to do this for a minute and I'll get back to it. 10 things you need to know. First of all, we're not talking about logos. I told you, change your logos. They should sell a feeling, not a bunch of physical attributes like a sun and a building. And I mean, by the way, there's a lot of historical buildings that have the same cupola on top. You know, I mean, that's not why we're coming here. They're not brand. Center brand, but they get all attention. Have you ever gone anywhere? Have you ever said, whoa, you know what? I want to head over to Stillwater because they have a really cool logo. Or you said, I really don't want to go down to McAllister because I think their logo sucks. Doesn't make any difference. Do you buy Coke over Pepsi or vice versa because their logo's much better? No. We always base our purchases on the product. The logo is meant to just convey the feeling of what you're about. Number two, a brand is a perception. It's what people think about you, and they're talking about Eufaula. They drive through and they're going, oh my gosh, what happened here? Or they may be going through and say, oh, what a cute shop, let's go in there. Oh my gosh, that gallery is fantastic. Brands are perceptions. It's what people think of you. I mean, what do you think of Borrego Springs when you see that? You're going, no way, right? I love it. Albion, Michigan. You know, they said, what do you think of Michigan? Albion, you know, friendliest college town in the Midwest, but it looks like we come here to die. I mean, it's what people say. And by the way, we walked into many of your merchants, and the second they saw my camera, they must have figured out who I was because they just vented the website wasn't enough. And we heard all about new water meters and how they were being ripped off. And I mean, we heard, you know, and then we heard about, I mean, you know, the benches. And by the way, you need the benches downtown. They took away the bench because they're advertising. I mean, we heard it was just a nonstop list. You know what? The way we shoot your shop is how investors do. If I would have been a real investor, I would have had second thoughts about coming to Eufaula based on what I heard, on what we heard. It is what people read in the news about you, you know, in the newspaper. So it's a perception. When you tell people from out of the area, oh yeah, I'm from Eufaula, what do they say? That's the brand in their mind. It's also a promise that whatever you're putting out there, you better deliver on it. This is little Shipshewana, Indiana, population 1,100. Fantastic little town, mainly Amish. So are you saying you're this, and then when they get there, that's what they get? It's like you're parked down there. So whatever your promise is, you better deliver on that promise. And sustainable brands are built in product, not marketing. And there's that fact. I mean, you know, this is down in southern Utah. This guy is Chris Oderkirchen. He is a Dane that opened up a German bakery, and it is so well known that people drive 2.5 hours just to go to his little shop. I mean, and it's fantastic. I mean, I see the cars parked out of there. And it's in a town of 600. Successful brands have a razor-sharp focus. It's working in business, and he's worked in communities. Look at it. Even attorneys are specialized. If you go down, call Russ Brown. He's a motorcycle attorney. Okay, how do you like this one? It's better to talk divorce mediation. Okay, here's another attorney. Intellectual property. It's like we're reading your mind. Attorney specialized, doctor specialized, real estate agent specialized. Towns and cities need to specialize. I love this insurance agency. Guys plus jump, I'll catch you, plus oopsie daisy equals, that's why we only insure women. You know, it's the age of specialization. Hotels, Westin Hotels promotes the heavenly bedding. They're doing such a good job selling heavenly bedding. They're making more money selling bedding and linens than they are hotel stays. Even Holiday Inn is trying to get, oh, we have the #1 guest rated shower head. Everybody's trying to find their point of differentiation. Out on the California coast, the Ventana Inn in Big Sur, 1/3 of its clients were families with kids. You know what they did? They put $3 million into their property, and they said, if you're over 21, you can't stay with us. How would you like to put $3 million in your property to get rid of 1/3 of your clientele? They ran ads like no kids, be kids. Guess what happened? They run at 97% occupancy. Their average overnight stay is nearly $650 a night. And they paid back their $3 million in less than 5 years. They narrowed their focus. As a business and as a town, you need to stand out from all these other communities, because we can come to Eufaula, but we can also go to Stigler. We can also go, I'm trying to think of all the other towns that we were floating in and around this lake. And you're not the only lake. There's other lakes east of you, north of you. I mean, you know, everywhere. Sharpen your message. What sets you apart from the dozens of other lake towns in Oklahoma? And it should be your downtown. And so, you need to have the most of something, the biggest, but it needs to be interactive, the best of. I mean, I always think you could have one of these, but you need to do something so that the name of Eufaula becomes synonymous with your brand beyond just the lake. And I am not dissing the lake at all. I'm trying to stretch your seasons. If you want young people to come back here and open up businesses, your kids, grandkids, whatever it is, you want to fill up these empty spaces, it has to be more than weekends for 3 months. Give the state something to promote that differentiates you, and they will help. So here you go. I want you, this is where I need audience participation. Who owns Country Music Capital? Nashville. You're pretty quiet. Okay, how about this one? Gambling Don't Fun, who owns it? Las Vegas. Okay, so who owns Kids and Family? You just did what I thought you would do. It just goes to show that the brand trumps the location. You said Disney, some of you said Orlando. But you're right, Disneyland, Disney World. Okay, Music Theater Capital is where? Not New York. Who said it? Branson, Missouri. Oh yeah, I came up there. That was cheating. Graceland, Elvis, where is it? Memphis. You think there's more in Memphis than Graceland? No. But you know what? Blues Barbecue, you name it. But you know what? That puts them on the map. Winery capital, who is it? Napa Valley. Football fans, where's the frozen tundra? I always hear male voices, Green Bay. You're right. You know, I mean, okay, I'll do town. What's Hershey's brand? Kind of gave it away in the background there. Okay, Gettysburg? You got it, Civil War. Okay, Lancaster? See, you know it. Everybody all over the United States knows it. Okay, Washington, D.C.? You're right, corruption. Okay, government. Hollywood? Yeah. I mean, you know, Eufaula? There you go. That's your problem. It's actually not a problem. It's part of the solution, but it's not the whole solution. Make sense? And you're right. The lake will always be front and center. No question. Activities on the lake, not the lake. Activities on the lake will be front and center. So, you can't be all things to all people. The narrower your focus, the stronger your success will be. You need to own your niche. Whether you're an art town, whether you're a festival town, you know, memorable brands evoke emotion. We did it. One of the coolest brands we ever did was Muskogee. You know what it was? The Warrior City. You know, the Bacone College Warriors, the veterans there, the Native Americans, the Trail of Tears. You go on and on and on. And you know what? Some people said, well, if you do refer to the Warrior City, people are going to think that we're full of gangs and everything. And their brand team got so scared, they ran away from it, and they never did it. So they're stuck being known for a 1969 song that none of the younger people under about 50 have ever even heard of. And so they evoke emotion. This is Ogden, Utah, and I'm only going to read one of these. It says, don't mess with Ogden. During the Prohibition era, Al Capone could go anywhere and do anything, but he avoided the speakeasy and brothels of Ogden, Utah, telling his cronies it's a bit too rowdy for my taste. While no one messed with Al Capone was smart enough not to mess with Ogden. That's just what they are. This is Damian Lillard. You know what? This guy was overlooked in the college draft. He was from Oakland, high school basketball player, never really got anywhere. And you know what? No major universities picked him up, but this little town in Ogden called Weber State picked him up. He broke every collegiate record. Then he signed with the Portland Trail Blazers. He signed, and he just signed a $130 million extension. And he wears that zero there because to him that's an O that stands for Oakland, Ogden, and Oregon. And everywhere he goes, he wears Ogden made. See, there's their tagline. I freaking love it here. And so this is about, and by the way, the awards keep piling up for them. What is your brand? What sets Eufaula apart? You know, they last for generations. And by the way, Ogden, a history of violence. And they're saying, yeah, we're still untamed. See, you know, while we replace bootlegging, prostitution, gambling, this is Utah. It's the least Mormon town in the state. And so climbing, kayaking, mountain biking, soul will always remain untamed. If you want homogenized, we're probably not for you. So you need to come up with that for you. And then, by the way, brands must be more than skin deep. We're working in Battle Creek, Michigan, home of Kellogg. And they said, we want to be known. Kellogg was founded on fit and healthy food. They became known for Frosted Flakes, right? And they said, we want to be known for healthy living and everything. So we did some research. We found out they were the fattest county in the country. I said, you know, you need to practice what you preach first. So, your brand needs to be everywhere. And if you have to explain it, toss it. So let me do a review, and I'm going to get back to this. And we're almost done. All of these things are so important. But you need to figure out, what's our focus downtown? Has anybody here ever been to Jefferson, Texas? Jefferson, Texas is a town of 2,500. Did you know they have an antique dealer in Jefferson for every 20 residents? Did you know that people will drive 4 hours from Dallas, further than to you? You're 3 hours, right? 4 hours. They will drive from Dallas all the way over to Jefferson because it is the antique capital of Texas. They have 70 or 80 stores that are downtown that are just full of antiques. And you know what? Because so many people are coming so far and they're spending the night, they are now the official B&B capital of Texas. And you know what? They do the Boo Rally with motorcycles. They have carriage rides in their downtown. They have a focus, and it worked. So what's your focus? You know, there it is. Your name should be synonymous. Successful brands own their niche. You know, and so these are the things you need to do. Okay? So now, here's how you do this. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. The first thing you did, let me go back. Come here. Come back here. Okay. You just did this week. Here's your baseline. I just told you, here's where you are today from an outsider. It's your baseline. So next thing you need to do, ask the locals, what is it we want to be known for specifically? Some are say, oh, we're friendly, we're the next Mayberry, we're a quiet, sleepy little town. We should be known for the lake. And we want to take it, and I would say, besides the lake, what should we be known for? What will get people here year-round, midweek? Right? We want our merchants to succeed. And so you have to ask. Then you figure out, of all those ideas, which one makes the most sense. Then you develop the action plan. And then you never go out and say, hey, is everybody okay with it? Especially in Eufaula. What you have to do is you have to go out there and sell it. You know what? If I was doing that plaza, I wouldn't be asking you permission. I'd say, we have the coolest idea for Eufaula. We want to take this little place over here and this little place over here. We want to create this. Yeah, we're going to block out the street. Some people are going to scream bloody murder. You're closing off the street. That's my main street to Maine. You know what? We drove around. It might take you an extra minute. You know, and so, you know what you do? But the second you get in the store, is everybody okay with it? Guess what happens? You're done. You're over, toast. You have to sell it. You go to Kiwanis, you go to Rotary, you go to school board meetings. You never do that. Then you do that action plan. It is a to-do list. You know what? And this is what you need to do. What is it you want to be known for? What do we have to do so we own it? How do we tell the world? And where's the to-do list? By the way, strategic plans are done. Where's the to-do list? Nobody wants a 300-page plan where we read the executive summary and nothing else. I mean, look at strategy, goals, objectives take no more than 10 pages. I say 3. An action plan is, here's the recommendation. Who's going to do it? Is it ODOT? Is it the city? Is it merchants? Do you create a downtown association? I mean, there's lots of things to figure out. You know, who's going to do it? The chamber? The lake association? How much will it cost? Where will the money come from? When would it be done? What's the rationale for doing it? And there's no reason action plan needs to be more than like 50, 60 pages. It's a to-do list. Here's recommendation number 27. There's recommendation number 28. And you just go through it and you get it done. So for you, you know you're going to start with tourism. If you don't know it, get used to it. It will lead you beyond. And you know what? I'd go up market. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. Your visitors have the money. You need something to offer them. You know, Carlton Landing, they're going to create their own restaurants and their own retail because you don't have it. And so that's what you're trying to avoid having happen. You must go beyond the lake. You need 8 months of the year, including weekdays. 4 months, fine. 8 months. Even tourism destinations need 8 months. And you know what? The money's here. This is not out at Carlton. This is just here. I mean, we drove around these neighborhoods and we're going, oh my gosh, the money is here. I mean, this is Carlton Landing here. And you know what? We went money, 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 money. And you know what? I would guess that probably 80% of all of these boats are non-Eufaula residents. They have money. You need to get them beyond the fuel dock. I mean, you know, money, 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 money. I mean, we just kept going down there. I'm sorry to be so crass, but that's what tourism is about. Jobs. I mean, it's here. And by the way, there's only 3 killers of any branding project. Number 1 is local politics. It's worse with membership organizations than it is with elected officials. Lack of champions and lack of money, public and private. By the way, the best brands are built in private sector development. Orlando, Anaheim, Napa Valley. I mean, all those ones, Branson, 49 music theaters, all privately developed. The best brands are built in private sector development, not lakes, trails, and public recreational amenities where the weather, your floods last year, how'd you do? Terrible as a town, right? Well, you know what? What if your brand wasn't just the lake? And I know it flooded out puddle jumpers and we heard all about it. But you know what? Your downtown, was it flooded? Right down here? See, if downtown would have been a draw, you would have hurt because of the lake, but you would have had enough to keep you sustained. So, you need to get into that game. I'll give you one more little case history. And I know I'm running out of time here. This is Hamilton, Missouri. Look at that. Population just 1,750. And you know, I'm going to skip right to this. So there's this gal named Jenny Doan. She is a quilter. And she did a really cool thing. She was looking for a place. Let me see if I have it right here. Let me find it right here because here she is. Here's Jenny. She moved from California with her husband to Little Hamilton, Missouri, and she has 7 kids, 21 grandkids. She had a knack for making things quick and easy. She needed something to supplement their income from her husband who was driving to Kansas City, so she started a little quilt company. She started posting YouTube videos on how to do these quilts. And all of a sudden, she started getting more and more and more followers as she's telling people how they could quilt easy, how they could make a quilt in a day. She started getting more than 50 million views. They bought this old, the old public library, which was defunct. And they bought a couple, her husband, they mortgaged everything they had to go buy a couple of the big sewing machines there. Then they bought an old J.C. Penney's building. They got her son, who was the postmaster there, to come in and start helping them. And it just started growing. And so you know what happened? Because this one woman...
Finally tonight, in a nation and a culture where everything's been sped up, some may be sad to learn that now applies to the time-honored tradition of quilt making. It's now possible to create an individual blanket work of art in as little as a day. And as you'll see, what this one woman has done is a good thing for her small Missouri town, putting the place on the map and becoming something of a celebrity in the do-it-yourself community. We get her story tonight from NBC's Harry Smith.
It looks like it's been a while since Hamilton, Missouri has been the hotbed of anything. But stop in at the Missouri Star Quilt Company on Main Street and you'll see dozens of people from miles around who have come to see and hear Jenny Doan.
All I was hoping for was, here's Jenny.
Doan figured out how to streamline a process that once took months and even years.
That's our whole goal, is to make it easy. It's always been one of these kind of mysterious things that's way out there that our grandmothers did.
Now just about anyone can make a quilt in a day.
People who quilt the old way.
The purists,
the
yes.
Purists,
yes, purists.
Right. And they look at somebody like you and you're kind of a heretic.
How cool is that? Well, here's my feeling. We're kind of like the McDonald's of the quilt world, you know? I know this looks a little crazy, but...
Jenny Doan's quilting revolution started with a few videos she posted on YouTube.
I know it looks really hard, but it's so easy.
In them, her philosophy. First, don't be afraid to make mistakes. And
I don't want to make something that's going to sit on a shelf that's so special that nobody wants to use it. I want to make something that is loved and worn out to the last thread.
Turns out Jenny is so good and her shortcuts work so well.
She's given me my therapy sessions every day.
Sunshine in a barrel.
She now has 150,000 subscribers, and her tutorials have been viewed more than 28 million times. And the Missouri Star Quilt Company is the fastest growing business around. Which is that much more gratifying because Jenny and her family had been knocked flat by the recession, says her son Alan.
Looking around, the fact that we have 85 employees that all feed their families because of what we do just blows me away.
So your name is Nancy?
Yes.
And because people now flock to Hamilton to see Jenny in person, plans are afoot for restaurants and accommodations. Amazing what can happen when you patch a few ideas together. Harry Smith, NBC News, Hamilton, Missouri.
Pretty cool, huh? International exposure. You know, I mean, just look at all the things. Now they're working on things for the guys to do. You know, it's so anything. You've got to find something that will do. By the way, the post office had to hire 6 new employees just to handle their mail. Largest provided quilt maker in the world. I mean, so they're back. They're back. It worked. And by the way, they're now up to 125 full-time year-round employees. So it just goes to show what you can do when you have a focus. And these are all old empty buildings that are now just working big time. Her views, I mean, this is a new one, 58,000 views. I mean, just millions. So, close things out. Just some other first impressions of Eufaula. Beautiful homes, even right in town. And for the first couple of days, we could not figure out. We see this, and then we see this. And it was just this huge difference, you know, between economies and everything. And we did eat at Boomerang's our first day. By the way, good burgers, kind of cute little place. You know, but we're dying for good, you know, some more, you know, fine dining. But we did eat there, it was great. We did eat at I Smell Bacon. And by the way, I think it really needs to be on your list because it is, by the way, it's the #1 rated restaurant on TripAdvisor. Yeah, well, and so I think it's important. I suppose it was a great breakfast. You know, I think you got some great little places like Flavor's Grill. We didn't get a chance to eat there. You've got all this recreation everywhere. I mean, it doesn't matter. We did find this, and we're going, man, well, these things are just scattered all over the place. You know, beautiful beaches. I mean, I absolutely think the swimming beach needs to be on your best of. See what I mean? Where you take the lake is what you do is you take different things on the lake, and then you make sure that you include those activities more than the lake. So you might do, there it is, the swimming beach. You know, we did also see Carlton Landing. We don't make residential developments best ofs, but beautiful homes there. I don't know what, I'm not sure it says how to play it, object of the game. Not too sure what it is, but I thought it was cool. And so they've just done a great job, and they're just getting started, but I noticed that their plans are to keep people pretty much self-enclosed. We need to give them a reason that they need to come into Eufaula. And I think it's important. We did eventually find the other side of Eufaula on the other side of the freeway. So we did find the rehabilitation center, the wellness center, and we did find those. And I assume those are your medical facilities, right over there? Okay. I don't know how anybody would find this stuff if they weren't just driving around for days like we did. And so I think that, and so I got to remember not to have these come in every single one of them. But, you know, the swimming beach and then Jellystone Park, I think it's fabulous what they've done over there. And they're getting good reviews. I think the marina is really important. I think it needs to be on that list too. And so I'm just going to go past it because it's going to take forever to scroll down through all of those. You do have this really beautiful little trail that's out there. I don't know what it's called. It needs to have a name. It should have, like, I don't know how long it is, where it goes. This is all part of wayfinding. You do have Santa cans. I think that should be on the list. And I'm going to go past that because of time. And then, let me keep going down here. And then, of course, we did see this facility, which is absolutely, I would love to see something out here that tells you what the schedule of events is. And even a little brochure holder that has the legacy events in it. But beautiful. I'm so glad you have this downtown. This is amazing. I got to tell you something. I speak at about 80 events a year. Usually the keynote speaker at state conferences and stuff. And I walked in here and I'm thinking, okay, it's a little town. Oh boy, it's a good thing I brought my projector. I walked in here and I said, well, I only do HDMI. And I always say, oh, I want a screen that's at least 8 feet wide. I walked in here, I saw that and went, oh my gosh. And then I talked to the guys back there and I said, well, I only do HDMI, not VGA. That's like 20 or he goes, oh no, we're HDMI right to the stage. I went, awesome. I mean, this is better than I get in Oklahoma City. And so I mean, this is just an incredible facility. You should be really proud of this. And yeah. And I saw the schedule of events, the little booklet. I went, oh my gosh, I'd like to come to this and this. I mean, I was going through it. Those are invitations to come back. And so I will go through the list this time. And so I want you to add these. This is that best of brochure. And so what you're going to do is you're absolutely going to promote these things because success breeds success. I call it the Eufaula Cove Trail. I don't know what it is. It's brand new. It's awesome. I hear it's being dedicated today. So it's awesome. And you know, and then finally I made fun of Jane. I said, okay, Jane, I want you to stand outside and point to that sign. And then, you know, and then I said, okay, now I want you to point to yourself so I can make fun of her. There you go. So she got top billing. And so another one that we didn't get a chance to eat at is the Flower Shop and Cafe. Several people said it's the best food in town back there. In their little tea room, I think it is. And so absolutely, they should be on there. We looked at the ratings. They rated well. And so you can see how all of these things are creating your best ofs. And by the way, there may be a few more. We didn't try every restaurant. We didn't get a chance. There may be things that you never saw in this presentation because we didn't know about them. And another one is we did go Treasures on the Lake. And at first, we usually don't do antique stores as best of, but their displays were so well laid out. They had this great little tea room in the back, just beautifully decorated. So we wanted to add them to the list as well. And so you can see how you're getting your best of list done. And then finally, oops, I didn't want to do that. Finally, I'm going to go to this one to wrap things up. Remember I said you're missing the 80, 70%? Here it is. Women account for 80% of all spending. Waiting for the guys. Usually there's a guy in the audience that goes, that's all. But that is a fact. And women will shop where it feels safe. That's where beautification comes in. But I want to show you this next picture, which was not staged. What do you see? I have 2 words for you. Think benches. You need to have 20 to 30 of them in your downtown, always at the facade facing out. Never at the sidewalk facing in. Always at the facade and flanked with a pot or planter on each end. 20 or 30 of them. You know what? You can go to Home Depot or somewhere. You can buy them for 79 bucks. They should not be concrete vandal-proof benches. They need to be benches people would actually sit on. So this is what you need all over your downtown. So there you go. 70% curb appeal, 80% by women, and after 6 p.m. 7, 8, 7. And the thing you got to do is you got to get people to stop. Stay 2 hours, spending will double. Just 2 hours, it will double. And then, of course, overnight, spend 4 times more. We wish you had a nice hotel. I would love to see a boutique hotel right in your downtown. People, did you know that people will stay 4 to 1? They will pick a downtown hotel over a freeway hotel because they can walk right downstairs and go into shops, restaurants, and have entertainment. 4 to 1. So, I I want you to do something crazy. This is really fun. This is Sulphur Springs. This right here is a restroom. This is in their little plaza. They built 2 of these. There's one right there. That's a little restroom right there. And what's cool about it, it's one-way glass. So they can't see in, don't worry, but you can see out. How many of you would have the courage to use that restroom? You know what? That's in Sulphur Springs, Texas. Their downtown. It's 3 miles off the freeway. They put out there on a billboard, famous see-through bathrooms. And it totally revitalized their downtown. Because they'll get out of their cars, once they get out of the cars, you have 4 times greater chance to get them to spend money. So they put these downtown. There it is. I mean, I went, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding. By the way, they were $30,000 a piece to put in 2 of them. They included the power and everything. And there are lights around the base on the outside, so at night, you know what I mean? You still can't see in. And so there are those lights, little LED lights there. So finally, you're going to make a list of these. There's 96 of them. They're ideas, they're suggestions. And you know what? You could probably do every single one of them, including the plaza, the wayfinding system, and everything for maybe $300,000. I'm talking about you could probably get 50% grants for this stuff. I mean, there were things in there that were $50, $30. This is not heavy. We're not saying you need to go out and spend tens of millions. And to win, you cannot fold to the cavers. I spelled it wrong. Jeez, I did that at the very last second once we got here. It's supposed to be cavers without the A. And by the way, if you don't know what cavers are, they are citizens against virtually everything. So, you have the building blocks to become an outstanding destination. And you know what? This is not a deal so the city has to carry the load. No, this is public-private partnerships. They have their list, you have your list. The merchants are their own worst enemies, all the way around. I mean, this place, everywhere we went, we just saw stuff like that, and you're probably going, oh, please. And I mean, just the water, the parks, just even coming up the highway, you're just going, oh my gosh, you have all these recreation areas. We ended up over on the other side. Couldn't figure there was no bridge over there. But, even from over there, you just go, this is just amazing. But you're not monetizing it. You've got beautiful neighborhoods. You've got beautiful amenities. You really do have a beautiful downtown that just doesn't have a focus. And there's no reason that you can't be one of the state's best towns in less than 3 years. That's all it would take. So, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. I hope that on Tuesday, and by the way, for Greg over here, we're going to give him, he's going to have this very presentation. It is being filmed. We want it up on YouTube. You know what? I'm preaching to the choir. I'll bet the people that really need to see this aren't here. Some of them had to go because we did this on a Friday morning. It took 14 hours to put one of these together. And so you'll have that. He'll have it. We're going to do a finding and suggestions report for you. But you could break up into teams and say, we want to tackle the beautification one. There may be things like you say, well, in downtown, maybe we should create a little downtown association and tax yourselves. Don't create an association, just have meetings. You can do what we call a business improvement district, and you consider how much money do you want to raise, and let's beautify all of them, even the people that won't play or won't play with us. See what I mean? It may not be fair, but sometimes you have to do those things. But what you have here is really, really incredible, and there's no reason why you can't win and succeed. So thank you so much for having us here this week. Thank you very much. Thank you.